through whom thou hast wrought great glory. Grant thy blessing upon this memorial to our late President, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, by our town, where days were spent, family ties shared, and memorable moments in life took place, and here overlooking the waters upon which he sailed. Mindful of the profiles of courage which he wrote, may this memorial call to remembrance his profile of courage in service and war, in endeavors for peace, in personal life and in public office. We remember, O God, the words of the poet, "'Tis the set of the sails and not the gales which tell us the way to go, and 'tis the set of the soul that decides its goal as we journey along through life. We read, O God, that he most lives who thinks most, feels noblest, acts the best. May this memorial be an inspiration to all who come here, refreshing memories of our heritage, with eyes opened and widened to new horizons, with hearts quickened with renewed hopes, and with new resolves to ask not what our country can do for us, but what we can do for our country. In this moment of dedication, we would remember all near and dear to him, whom we honor through this memorial, praying that we may ever go from here with firmer faith and more earnest purpose. And
Gerald Kennedy. Amen.
You may be seated. That a memorial should be a place of quiet, a place of inspiration, a place that engenders reflection upon the greatness, the courage, the dedication, and the supreme sacrifice by, and it was unanimously voted by the town to appropriate funds for the purpose of such other suitable memorabilia as may be deemed proper. As you may have observed when you came in, this site contains about 2 acres of land and 1 acre of salt marsh and creek on the north side, the largest part being high water, with a sweeping view of Lewis Bay and the outer harbor, and a fine sandy beach on Lewis Bay. The site is without question one of the most beautiful on Cape Cod. It overlooks a peaceful place to sit and watch the ocean and the gulls among natural surroundings. The design itself is simple, a paved terrace. We therefore recommended under Article 72 of the last annual high and dry, with an elevation about 15 feet above, are the words, "I believe it is important that this country sail and not lie still in the harbor." A direct containing the centrally placed fountain and small pool with a foot-high column of running water, reminiscent of the eternal flame which burns at Arlington National Cemetery. Around the coping of that pool, as you may have observed, this is a miniature of the bronze medallion, a 3-inch reduced miniature, which I'm going to ask the senator if he would present it to Mrs. Kennedy at the first opportunity. If you would do that, Senator, appreciate it. Now I'm going to call upon the senator.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Judge Murphy, George Cross, members of the committee, Reverend members of the clergy, our neighbors here in Hyannis and Barnstable, our friends who are visiting our neighbors. Above all, this should be a happy occasion because the hours and the days that President Kennedy spent at Lewis Bay were the happiest in his life. So as we are dedicating a memorial, it is, I think, implicit that we should be happy. We should recognize that in the areas which bound us next to the sea, which border around Nantucket Sound, President Kennedy spent the happiest days of his life. Enjoying the sun and the sea, enjoying the wind, enjoying the sailing, whether it came from the southwest, which we all know, as those of us who live here, always brings a gentle and calm breeze, unless it comes in the late afternoon, or whether the wind comes from the northeast, and the wind is stronger, inevitably brings those 2 or 3 days of occasional rain. Nonetheless, these were the happy days for President Kennedy. He grew strong here as a boy. He swam in its warm and gentle waters. He sailed in its sheltered harbors. He traveled in many parts of the world, both as a young man, as a congressman, in the war, in the service of his country. Whenever he returned, whether it was in the period after World War II, to gather the strength to overcome the illness that he had experienced in the service of his country, or whether it was in the time when he served as a president of these United States. Time for thinking, he had time for contemplation, he had time for writing. He brought to these gentle waters the most imponderable decisions that any one of us could possibly have. Although they remained as important and as weighty, somehow seemed lighter and easier to make. He enjoyed
That completes the program. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Senator.
He had time for thinking. He had time for contemplation. He had time for writing. He brought to these gentle waters the most imponderable decisions that any one of us could possibly have as a President of the United States. And somehow in Lewis Bay and on Nantucket Sound, these decisions, although they remained as important and as weighty, somehow seemed lighter and easier to make.